Okay, recording in progress. Today again is Friday, April 7th, 2003. Time is 1:10 and we're getting started. This is our, what we could say, second to last group meetup in preparation for the Hip Hop Summit happening in just 2 short weeks from now at the State of the Black World 5, April 19th through the 22nd, with the Hip Hop Summit taking place specifically on April 22nd, that Saturday. And so again, today, to go over our agenda, we're going to finalize our panel discussions, introduce the panelists that have already agreed to help moderate, as well as the workshops. So these are hybrid sessions with workshops and panels included, and identify the moderators for each session so that we can do some of the groundwork around bio collection, pictures, because we are going to be printing our own booklet within the conference to distribute to the participants that apply specifically for the Hip Hop Summit track at the conference. Today, we're also going to give updates around the production of product, as well as signage and any other loose ends that we may need to discuss. Before we begin, Brittany, is there anything you want to say on behalf of the caucus?
Just that we are excited to be partnering with you all on this, and eager to iron out some of the details, and yeah, and just great to be a community with you all today.
Perfect. I appreciate that. So because today is going to be content heavy and I guess moderator heavy, to make sure we get all that satisfied, I think we should kind of go through that first. And so as you all may remember from our last session, we decided that we would do 3 focused workshops / panels that spoke about the history of hip hop and its deep roots and deep rhythms. We said we would go into the present state of hip hop, celebrate its birthday, hip hop at 50. I even plan to bring a little cake. We want to make it cute, but also talk about, the youth and how they are our next social transformers, how in this present time we need to reorient them around hip hop as a tool, as well as then talk about hip hop futuristically. What could the role of hip hop be for future generations, and using Earth Day or Earth to Hip Hop as a theme, because April 22nd is Earth Day. And so we have several of the facilitators and panelists that we have invited to participate here today. And so we would like to begin by allowing each one of them to introduce themselves and talk about which section they'll be participating in. And so I guess you already had the privilege of meeting Mama Ade Olomo, one of our very own Thai elders. And she'll be joined by Baba Jabal Harris out of Cleveland, Ohio, with One World Rhythm. And so let me see, Baba Jabal is not here. Mama Ade, did you want to speak on Baba Jabal's behalf, as well as your own, about the first session, what it would look like, what would be included? At that time, I would also like for our partner, Mr. Terrence T.C. Muhammad, to talk about what he would like to see added to the session as the moderator, so that we can reconcile what that session looks like, what the time is that it'll take to have it done effectively, what supplies and materials we need, and also then, whatever you all need so that we can get a write-up. I want you all to be the ones to actually write the language. That'll be the description of that session. And so we're recording, we're taking notes, and we're listening to what you all have to say. Mama Ade? It looks
all
like
right. I'm in transit as usual, so you all forgive me. But yes, well, we're going to be talking about the roots and the rhythms of hip hop. So the beginnings, back to the drum. Baba Jabal is going to do an African drum display. Some things that you can touch, some things that are just for your visual. But we'll do a drum call. We'll go extensively into some of the beginnings of hip hop. And, Kim is very fond of saying, we are the rhythm people. And so it is that rhythm, it is that vibration. It is what Kim calls the fifth dimension of hip hop, is that all pervasive beat, that heartbeat, the rhythm, the drum. And so we'll talk about the drum, the various kinds of drums, what they're used for, how that is essential and foundational. People will also have an opportunity to make a drum. So we'll do a make and take. So we'll make the square goombay drums that people can decorate, and they'll learn how to place various rhythms. We'll talk about African dance and the correlation between old and new. A lot of times kids think that what they're doing is new and fresh, and yes, it's a fresher form of an older event. And so we'll do a little bit of Sankofa and go back and get all of those ancient ways and ancient rhythms and correlate it to today. So in a nutshell, that's what we'll do. We'll talk about some of the elders of hip hop, Chief Bey with his drum and the renovations that he made to the drum, and the drum in America and how it was used to communicate. All of that. It's a big subject, but it's going to be very, very enjoyable. We'll have a good time, and I'm open for any questions that you might have.
Okay. We also have a hip hop caucus expert that will serve as the moderator between you and Baba Jubal. Baba Jubal is not here and unable to be with us, but he is a renowned drummer that is still working. He works with Grammy-nominated artist Weedy, The Hands of Time, and his rhythms have been integrated into many hip hop artists, of the, I guess, the recent day. And so they understand the importance of the connection. But as the moderator focusing on the fifth element, we really feel like that is a deeper level, and just to acknowledge that, just energy of movement, the energy that is wielded to create a movement, and what that vibration looks like. That's what TC is kind of going to bring his interpretation to that. TC, could you add something to that? I also see, Brittany, you have your hand up. So I didn't know if you wanted to go before TC talks about what he would like to see happen, or after, but I guess
I like to go before. So just in all transparency, we came into this conversation thinking that we would learn who was going to be on the panels, learn more about them, and how that would inform what the panel is going to be. So we didn't come with like, this is how this panel is going to go. So I don't know if TC has ideas now that he's heard Mama speak, and he may, but I just wanted to level set there.
Okay, that's 100. I appreciate it. So TC is also pretty quick. Did Mama Ide's overview and I guess that the interpretation she gave, that inspire anything in UTC? Did it give you more clarity around what deep roots, deep rhythms may look and feel like?
So it's a couple points. I absolutely loved it, number one, and I loved it coming from the sister, and I explained that piece in a second, and I love her elekes. So I think here's a couple of things. Is that the basis of the whole first workshop that we're talking about?
Yes. So the first workshop would be kind of like pre-hip hop, understanding beat roots and rhythm, like the history, how we get to that prior to it actually being birthed.
Okay.
And so that would be the opening session.
So that is that primary piece. Okay. And I'm asking because I didn't know if there's anybody else. So it's Baba and Mama, that will be, that will be the openings. So I guess if that is the workshop, then I would craft it this way, because I think I had asked a question on one of our calls, what do you all see as the fifth element? And I always call the fifth element, the four elements as, everybody has their different elements, but we always say the four: b-boying, graffiti, DJing, and MC, and those are the four basic elements. And the fifth always was, for me, Karos, one: knowledge. So I would craft the conversation as, we're going to give y'all the fifth element today, and that's some knowledge. And we're going to talk about hip hop in a way that nobody talks about hip hop. And I would say, who was the first DJ? And I'm gonna let people yell out DJs. And I say, no, your mama was your first DJ, because that first beat you heard was that heartbeat, that thump. That was the first beat, that thump. And then we come out in a tradition, because we're at the state of the Black world, and it's a global kind of conversation. To not incorporate the drum would be ludicrous. So the way that is kind of building, because the drum was, just as hip hop, it wasn't always about the MC. The MC always gave respect to the DJ, because the DJ brought people to the party. And we understand that culturally, the drum was the thing that brought everybody from the village together, before our elders gave the story and told our history. But it was always that drum that connected us. So if we are taking it from that standpoint, we can explore that, and then we can explore how different producers and utilizing sampling and utilizing like the Jay Dillas and the Knife Wonders, and just different producers that are using these creative ways of sound in this beat. And then kind of go into why we need to get back to the beginning, because now these beats and these sounds are used to capture us with the beats, but then what's overlaying them as far as some of the lyrics. And I'm not trying to get too much in the lyrics, because that's a whole industry kind of conversation versus an artist conversation. Because when you start talking about hip hop globally, hip hop is not the 8 to 10 songs that we hear on the radio that people want to make it out to sound. So I think the way that we're laying it out gives a different kind of structure. I guess I will also want to ask, like, the conversation about the drums and giving it history, but how long would that history part be, and how long would the drum making be, as far as the capsulizing of the time frame that we have? How much were we looking for discussion? How much were we looking for as an actual production of drums or djembe?
We gave ourselves an hour for the drum making, because along with the drum making, they'll learn a few rhythms. So we gave ourselves an hour for that, depending on the amount of people that we have. So I think we've arranged for at least 50 drums to be made. All is in flux. So we'll craft it as needs be.
How does one sign up for that session?
That's a Kim.
So though we have predetermined our audience, and don't worry, Maurice, they'll get a chance to hear you and everything that your greatness is.
No, drum session.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you'll be there for sure. And in terms of the public in general, there is a registration link on the Institute of Black World's website. And though someone registers for the entire conference, and there are sessions outside of the hip hop track that they would participate in until it begins, on Saturday, when everyone else takes their deep dive into the topic that they want to participate in, they can click Hip Hop Summit. So that will be the track. But we have, in a way, guaranteed our audience a little bit. But hey, we're still open to what the public in general wants to do and participate in. We don't yet know exactly what that is, because it's still, like Mama Ade said, in flux in terms of what their registration is generated. So we'll see. We'll have a more clear answer at our final meetup. Did that answer your question, Maurice?
Yes.
Thank you so much. I guess, TC, is that a time frame that you can work with? what I will say is that the room has audio visual. And so I do think that simultaneously, as the drum making is happening, there can be a slideshow, there can be things that bring quotes in the room. If there is a video that you think should be shown, we can do that. Baba Jubal did send an option. I'll let him bring that option to the next meeting with him when he's actually able to represent himself. And we can send it to you prior to that meeting so you guys can discuss if that's, something that you have in mind. If you have, like you said, the answer to the call and response, like if people are going to guesstimate and say, and then you say it's actually your mother, like maybe there can be a slide on the screen after the answer is revealed with mother, like the mother of civilization in all its forms, or just a representation of divine, energy, just mother, right? What that looks like. But just finding ways to use the room to our full capacity. Yeah. What do you think about that, TC?
I mean, I agree. I think, like you said, I just want to know, what is brought as far as the other video presentation. So just the length of it. Because I think the context is like, how do we want to start the discussion? How long we want to have the first part of the discussion before we go into the drum making, and then how much time do we want to use for not only Q&A, but the greater discussion around, because it's multiple discussion. It's going to be maybe a discussion. My brother, Minister Server, can you mute? Thank you, my brother. And I say it like that because that is my brother. That's my boy. But no, I think there'll be a good discussion after we have the initial discussion, to have some interactions and dialogue, and then go into the drum making, and then having some interactions and dialogue just in the making of the djembe or the drum, because even in the creation of the drum, there's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of conversation. I had my first djembe, and just going to get the shell of it and then to pull it together and tune it up, so I think there's multiple conversations. I think those slides will be good at the beginning and the opening.
Okay. So I would say, because you kind of know the outline of the conversation, kind of framing it for us as the moderator, if you could maybe engage Jarrell, if we could engage you into the production of what that slideshow would be. Maybe
I want to wait till Baba, because I don't know what he has. I want to wait to see
Baba Jubal, Mama Ade does represent him.
Okay.
He did really just come into the call, so he can take a deeper dive into what she added. And because he is here, what she said in reference to
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
I hate to mute you, Baba Jubal. I'm gonna unmute you in a second. Like basically everything that Mama Ade said, like that'll be the breakdown of the workshop. But the reason that I'm so glad he's here is because to take a deeper dive into what that discussion is, I want to do an exhibition. And so I feel like when people come into our area of the conference, it should even feel different. Like they should know we're not in the normal conference space anymore. And so how do we do that? We can use the environment and the symbolic landscape to help reinforce the messages that we want to feel during the sessions. And so Baba Jubal is going to help us do that. Our organization has something called We Are the Rhythm People. It's a campaign that we use to use rhythm as a tool of unity and solidarity for global African people. And so I've asked Baba Jubal to get some of his drums from their collection to tell the history that he's going to talk about inside of the workshop session, and have those on display. Even though people won't be making those historic drums, they'll be making a drum. And then if we have a hallway where we have signs with a description of that drum, the era of history that it comes from, the meaning behind it, so that when we're not in the session, And even people that are not a part of our hip hop sessions can still get a taste of what is happening. And so they can go into those, into our walking, feeling drum exhibition and, participate even if they're not in our sessions. So now meet Baba Jabal. Baba Jabal, if you could just do a quick introduction to yourself.
I'm Baba Jabal Harris, and
Your
yes,
expertise.
well, my expertise is in the traditional African drums and other idiophones and musical instruments that come from Africa. I'm a drum maker. As a matter of fact, at this very moment, I'm here at Baile's African Drum Works in Baile in 1996. I apprenticed to Baile. He taught me how to carve the sangba, dunduns, kinkani, and djembe drums. So I'm here right now at the shop, and I can show you some of the drums that are being repaired and made here that we would like to be able to bring to the exhibit. And when we do this, we not only bring the physical drum, but also the information about the culture, the people who play these drums, and then we can also demonstrate. So I don't know if you can see this too well in back of me, but these are ballophones, and these are Manding ballophones. Can you see those?
Not as clear, but
Get closer, it's not clear.
Okay, yeah,
Cloudy, yeah.
I'm not familiar with how I could turn this camera around to show that to you in a clearer way. But depending upon the space that's available that can accommodate some of these instruments, we can bring them. We have not only the drums, but also stringed instruments. For example, this balo, and we have kora, and of course the very popular djembes. But one of the things that we really want to focus on also is what we call the indigenous African American ashiko drum, which was the first drum that was resurrected here in the United States in 1934 by Moses Mianes, who was an Ijaw from southeastern Nigeria. He was a merchant marine that came to the United States. And in 1934, he was able to work with the Trinidadian drum maker to recreate what's called ashiko. And there's a whole history that I have. I gave Kim an article that I wrote that talks about that whole history, because what it represents is the resurrection of the African drum here in the United States among African Americans. As you know, in 1740, drums were outlawed with the Black Codes in South Carolina and throughout the United States. So it was made illegal for an African American to have or possess or play a drum. And those laws were on the books until way after Reconstruction. But we're going to feature what we call the Moses Mianes replica drum. So what we did was Baile McKnight, who I'm just gonna introduce you real briefly. Excuse me, Baile on this boom. I'm just telling them about this is Baile. And
yeah, how you doing?
I was just telling them about the shop and the restoration that we're doing on the Moses Mianes ashiko drum. And so we'll be bringing some of these instruments to the conference for display.
So the only question is about security for the room. You have overnight security for the room.
So yes, we do. And we're only putting up the display the night before our day. We're not gonna exhibit throughout the entire conference to make sure that, these relics are protected, and also to give our session a little added kick. So it'll be special only for the day that we are hosting the summit. I also see a question. Do you spell that Moses, Mehnas, drum?
Oh, no, that's Moses. And then Mianes is Mian, sometimes it's spelled with 2 N's, ES. Moses Mianes.
And we will definitely, just to let the group know, we're definitely capturing that history in the Hip Hop Summit program so that people can go through that timeline with us. Haki says he fixed our drum at Concorant. Yes, we have many drums at the Teaching Artists Institute, and we salute the Baba for being our drum fixer. Thank you, Baba Haki, for reminding us of that. So we're basically, I guess we're finishing up with the description of the first session and how important that is as a foundation to everything else that we're going to be discussing. We really want to take a deep dive into that. I think Terrence, TC is going to be an incredible moderator to help shape the story. Just like the Baba, he brought up how drumming was illegal. We know that there was an attack on hip hop artists, and hip hop music was criminalized, and especially in its origin. And so we can talk about the West Coast. And so I know that TC has the knowledge, the breadth of knowledge to connect that and to bring us full circle. And so just in terms of a written outline and then a PowerPoint with images to kind of take us through that outline, we would really depend on the Hip Hop Caucus to help us with the development of that. And if we can have it within a certain time frame, along with anything you would like us to have printed inside of the booklet that will be given away, please let us know so that we can make sure that is available. Is there anything else from that first introductory section that we need to ask or talk about? Does everybody understand how we're laying a foundation for deep roots and deep rhythm to shape our conversation for the day?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, Baba Jubal, I'm glad you came on just in time. So again, our facilitators, Baba Jubal, Mama Ade Olomo, and our moderator, TC, Terrence Muhammad. That'll be our discussion, or I suggest a workshop for the first session of the day, right immediately after breakfast. Brittany just put a basic schedule. She said, basically 1 hour for drum making and rhythm learning. 45 minutes for discussion, which TC would lead with the audience at large, and then 15 minutes for question and answer after both of those things take place, or maybe even during the actual drum making, since I know that process, takes a little bit of time maybe to keep the monotony. It can be a simultaneous thing, question and answers as we make the drums. But I think I agree on that timeline. It feels good. It fills the 2 hours nicely. Before we move on, is there anybody else? Brittany, I see your hand raised.
Yeah, so did you say you wanted to type it up?
So yeah, we're dependent on TC to frame the conversation. If he can, type out the outline,
Gotcha.
so that Jarrell on your
Gotcha.
team can maybe put together a PowerPoint slideshow so that the images can reflect his outline. And if there's going to be an overview that's written, then it would be helpful if we had that outline, because then we can fill in the blanks.
Yeah, so I think we'll probably take what we've heard and some things that I did not know from this conversation and frame it from what Baba Jubal said and Mama Day, and then what I heard TC say, and create an outline around that. We won't, as far as overview, we'll introduce the session, but I don't think I don't think it won't be anything like text heavy.
Oh, no, like a paragraph. Like I can pull up what we had before so that we can just see if you want to use that as like just an example.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. So basically no more than what, 5 sentences, literally an overview. So I sent what was our original notes. So I'm just going to open that and share that on the screen so that we can all see. Give me 1 second. So I'm gonna. So I'm just gonna share my screen. That might be easier. Screen, start now, and my files. And so, so you guys can see, hopefully you can see my screen and it's not too wide. But when I mentioned the overview, you can see in our schedule that the first breakout session at 10 a.m., session A, Deep Roots and Rhythms, the origins of hip hop and the fifth element. And so the overview of the breakout session is similar to what I already took the liberty of doing the overview for session 2. So session B, hip hop, what we're about to discuss, you can see nothing more than 5 sentences, but the outline, I guess the outline may be a little more detailed. I mean, or longer, because it would outline the entire discussion, but it doesn't need to be a paragraph. The breakout session description is nothing more than a couple sentences, and then the outline, just so that we can give it to Mama Ade and Baba Jubal so that they can stay on track with the storyline that we're trying to convey.
I got you. I'm following.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me ask, is everybody from your session 2 here? I think our team has a hard 2:00 stop. And I do want Russell, while he's on, since he's going to be on our Earth to Hip Hop, or he may be on our Earth to Hip Hop panel, for us to talk through that if we could possibly go in order. But if not, no worries.
Okay. Well, I was hoping you said Corinne. I was hoping she was here today as well. So
Yeah,
that
no, I didn't invite her. I didn't know that we were doing that in this meeting. So I would have. But so we also could, if we wanted to, just schedule a separate session 3, because I would like for Carrie, and if Russell's going to join, for Russell to be able to talk, and then we can come back to you all with something. Like I said, I thought that this meeting we were, meeting and getting information, and we were going to go back and curate from this. Otherwise we would have came like with what you all are looking for.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you this, we can make it all fit in this last 15 minutes. We were only thinking about 2:30. So that's only about 30 minutes shy, which would have been a lot of conversation that doesn't have to happen. It can happen via email. So what I'll do is cut out updates around food. We can do that via email. We'll cut out updates around logistics and just only focus on sessions. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So the session B would be after lunch. We can also save the Global Grassroots Luncheon Policy of Concern for Global African Artists. We can save a discussion about that until our next meeting, and we can skip right to youth and the next social transformer. Youth as resources as hip hop turns 50. So this is our session in the middle of the day, where basically it's like the hip hop of today. And so on our end, to help facilitate that discussion, let me close and stop sharing my screen. Give me 1 second. Okay. So for our second session, hip hop and the next social transformer, hip hop turns 50, we've invited some incredible hip hop artists that are currently engaged in art for social transformation across the country. First and foremost, we're saying that this conversation is not just across the country, it's around the world. And so we have invited our Thai delegates and ambassadors that are around the world that are working and leading the hip hop space internationally. Unfortunately, because of visas and all that kind of logistics they throw at us, they're not able to join us, but we are currently working on a video that we would like to show at the beginning of this session. And they're doing it from 6 different countries. We have the Congo represented, we have Uganda represented, we have Ghana represented, we have South Africa. We have Tanzania represented, and the 6th one is losing me, but they're here now. Guys, you hear that we're short on time. If you could each just take 1 minute, maybe 2, to introduce us to your hip hop movement on the ground in your country and tell us about the project. I would like for, the minister, Benzema, hold on 1 second, to lead the discussion. If we could start off with you, Roz, if you can tell us about Authentic Voices, maybe mention a line about what we did last year with, in Uganda on the ground with hip hop, and what you plan to capture in your video to show, to bring the global presence into the room representing Uganda. Minister.
Oh, peace. Hopefully y'all can hear me well. It's
Yeah.
kind of dark here at home. But go by the names of Minister Rasbiat Benzema from Kampala, Uganda. I'm an African, hip hop practitioner and culturalist. So I major into, the hip hop knowledge and narrative in our, African context. And, I also work with different, spaces within, youth, within education, within, infrastructure developments and within programming for the past 13 years now. I've been working different demographics and spaces, such as, the refugee, spaces, urban spaces, rural spaces, and also, traveling within, the region, and I've been, to Europe as well. So with Authentic Voices, Africa is just basically, a cultural connectivity, artistic movement where we bring different, culturalist practitioners from around Africa, the diaspora, to collaborate on different projects, music, on festivals, on tours, and also, in exchanges, within the continent. So with that, we have 3 major programs that we have at the moment. We have the Artist in Residency program, where we bring, basically, creators in the music spaces to come and collaborate and do projects together, do music and all of that. So last year was the first edition. We had 26 artists from 6 different countries, across the continent, and 2 from, UK and USA. And then this year, we've chosen 30 artists that will be coming in, but we have a confirmation of 21 due to the visa cost and, visa period of timing and stuff. So we are bringing this time, 21 artists from 16 different countries in African diaspora. So during the 2 weeks of May, from the 1st to the 14th of May, and then we will have a second edition of the, of our hip hop festival. It's a moving festival where we go in different, spaces across the country. So we choose different demographics and geographical, locations that give an,
Hey,
an
Rod,
authentic experience.
I hate to cut you, love, but the video, we only got 10 more minutes. So what are you going to be doing for the video for the Hip Hop Summit?
Sorry, what we'll be doing is we'll share, briefly about, last year's festival and artists in residence, and also our works, that we'll be doing across the continent for the past, 7 years. There it is. I'm sorry for the timing,
It's cool. You blessed. You already know what it is, King. Listen, you're here for that reason. I'm sorry we can't honor your work in the way that it should be, but we want to stay and respect the time frame. So he's going to be representing along with Beatboxer Scooter out of Uganda, and they're going to bring that virtual presence in. Then we're going to go to the mid region of Africa, Central Africa, and we're going to highlight the Congo. We have our, our artists over on that side of the world. Bush, are you with us?
Yes. I'm here. I'm here. I can hear you. Yes,
Cool.
I can talk a bit.
All right. Tell us about what's going to be in your video. Wait, are we just listening to what's going to be in your video, or are you going to tell us about it?
Oh, that's somebody else. They're gonna mute.
Oh, that's Pop. I'm like, okay, Bush.
Yes. I'm just trying to hear you because I'm somewhere. I don't hear good, but I can just try to hear. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us what we're going to see from Congo for the Hip Hop Summit.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much. I am Bush, I am dancer, I am from Congo. I am working with Invisible Kids Academy. I am Art Tank winner. So for Congo, we are going to do break dancing. We are going to do some rap with kids, and we are going also to do some house dance. So we are just going to mix break dance. We can mix with horse dance, and also we are going to do rap with the kids. The kids are going to rap a bit for you guys. So we are going to do a video and send directly to Kim. This is what we're going to do from Congo. We're supposed also to do a dance battle with the break dance battle for the kids. Like, this is what we're going to do: break dancing, house dance a bit.
Okay,
Doing
Bush, I hate to cut you off, Bush,
and
but
also
Bush,
rap.
can you hear me? I'm
Yes,
sorry
I
to
can
break
hear
you
you.
off. The work you're doing with Invisible Kids are good. Thank you so much. We're gonna look forward to seeing that. We're gonna move on. Nana Amoa, we're gonna go to the West Coast. Can you tell us what you'll be doing with graffiti art, representing Ghana and the West Coast? Nana?
Hello, everyone. My name is Ben.
I think I don't hear good, but can you please ask again, please?
Yeah. Thank you for your contribution, Bush. I'm gonna mute you now for the sake of time. Thank you for being here today. We look forward to the Congo's contribution.
Hello, everyone. My name is Winfred Nanamwa. I'm an artist from Accra, Ghana, a visual artist, a graffiti artist. And so with the Hip Hop Summit, I'm going to do a bit of display of a graffiti which have a narrative that talks about hip hop and hip hop culture in Ghana and West Africa as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Nana. Just so I know that we have a couple other folks here that are from the continent. Thank you, Ty, for standing up. Tie up, tie tight. But we just wanted to show them we are going to have representation from East, Central, and West Africa. South Africa will be represented in person. So Nati Mankube is going to be there in person. He is doing dance. And so he would be the hands-on portion of, or the in-person of the international influence of hip hop with global African people. And so just to give you that as an introduction to what session B would be about. But in terms of our face-to-face moderators from the Thai side, we have three. We have Maurice Taylor out of Massachusetts. We have Minister Serva out of Atlanta, Georgia. And then we have our homegirl Faustine, and she's out of Detroit. So I want to give all of them an opportunity to say quickly what they do with hip hop. They will be with us on the ground in the room. If you guys could just literally take 1 minute to come on camera so we see your face, hear about your movement, and know that I still will follow up with you. But if you could come in now and tell us, I guess we can start with the minister, since he is our, we bow to him with his timeline and all the things you've been doing for so long around the world. Can we start with you, Minister Server? Minister Server, are you still with us?
Yes, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, yeah, I said I had to get camera ready. Yeah, what is that you want me to talk about?
Listen, you're going to be on the panel for the second session, session B, hip hop and the future generation. We celebrating 50 years in hip hop of present.
Yes, yes. What the main thing we talk about hip hop in the future, one of the main things that I'll be talking about is the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace, which is the document that we presented to the United Nations May 16, 2001. It's 18 principles, and that is our unifying document around the world. And that document is not specific to any individual or any organization. So it gives us a chance to, for 30 years, we've been saying rap is something you do, hip hop is something you live. With the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace, particularly with young people, we have an opportunity to activate that document and make it a real living document to guide themselves in a positive, productive, progressive manner. So that's the main thing that I'll be talking about. Word.
Thank you so much. We can't wait to get a copy of that, and we'll include it inside of the program. So next up, we have our brother out of Massachusetts, Maurice Taylor. Could you let us know a little about who you are and what you'll be adding to discussions when we discuss Hip Hop Turns 50, youth, and hip hop and the next social transformers?
First of all, I want to say peace and it's an honor to be here. It's one thing to hear about it. It's another thing to actually, at least virtually be among so many great people. So I'm honored. So I created a poetic recovery in my area to educate artists about social political issues. And it's like been the craziest thing to do, the hardest thing to do. Then I realized like trying to get people out to an alcohol-free, drug-free event, it was almost impossible. And to rhyme, drug-free was impossible. So I had to create a place where people can go. So I created Poetic Recovery. Then I learned about Hip Hop Congress, which has been in existence for 30 years. We create college chapters. And so what we do is we use hip hop to address social issues in our community. So I'll be discussing that. I'll be discussing my work with Poetic Recovery as I'm in recovery. I'm going on 29, 30 years sober and 27 to 28 years clean. And, using Poetic Recovery to take on the exploitation and appropriation of Black culture, specifically hip hop culture, and giving people a platform to be themselves and to learn what it is to be themselves, And so I'll be discussing all those things and the importance of that. And, I definitely see that being a need going forward, looking at the high rate of addictions in our community and what we need to do to address all these things.
Thank you so much, Maurice. Last up, our sister, Faustine, out of Detroit. Faustine, can you join us and just give us 30 seconds? We literally are on a minute now. Just 30 seconds. Being the only sister in the room, I think that makes an important difference. But you may be joined by Corinne. We're going to talk about how she's going to moderate the discussion amongst you all. So Corinne is going to moderate, and we're going to meet her. But you all are the panel. So please, Faustine, could you introduce yourself?
You're muted. You're muted. We got to hear you.
Oh, okay, sorry about that. Okay. All right, good afternoon. My name is Faustine Amara Oweneme. I was raised in Detroit, but my family is from Nigeria. Recently, well, for the last 10 years or more, we've been doing the Hip Hop in the Park. We've hosted it in New York, Atlanta, and then the last 2 years, we're doing it in Ohio. I've also worked with the hip hop organization, Engaging Wise Senegal. And so what we've done last year, we took local artists, underground artists from Detroit, Michigan to West Africa to perform New Year's at the Gateway by Rap Festival. This is a project that's very important to me because I want the average local hip hop artist, which represents, you know, the young community, to know that they have the opportunity to travel to West Africa, meet and greet, learn about the hip hop movement in West Africa, and also perform. So this is a project that we want to continue to grow, and also our hip hop in the park movement that we do throughout the country. This year it will be in Toledo, Ohio as well. So the Gauge Away by Rap Festival is in Senegal, New Year's. And we do, we take artists here to meet the artists there, to just exchange culture, to exchange dialogue, and to exchange ideas. And I think it's a great project that we have to continue to grow. And thank you for inviting me.
All day, sis. That's
Yes,
what it
it's called the Gauge Away by Rap Festival.
Yes, we got you, sis. You'll be able to promote it in the book and on the day. But right now we are running out of time. Hate to cut you. But you know, hashtag Sheroes. But what I'm gonna also say is we're now, if we could just ask you all to give us just 2 more minutes so that we could talk about, I know we're a minute over time, but if we could just take 2 more minutes to talk about Earth to Hip Hop. I did want to introduce or give space for Kareem or I'm sorry, Brittany.
Carrie. Yeah, her name is Carrie Fulton. Carrie's from Baltimore. She does, she's one of our partners in coalition work, as well as just been ongoing working with Hip Hop Caucus for a few years. And she does a lot of climate, environmental justice work. So we'll touch base with her and then share with you all how we're thinking about framing that. But who do you all have from your panel or is there anybody from your panel that will be on that, or from you all?
So yes, Baba Jim Embry is actually not gonna be there on the 22nd. He'll be there on every day leading up to the 22nd because Earth Day is a big thing. He's with Ujama Seeds. And so one of the things that he's gonna be doing as in terms of a physical manipulative is he's gonna be providing participants with seeds from Ujama Seeds as just like an affront to Earth Day. We also wanna do libation, but we also have a videographer that, so this gives me an opportunity to talk about our signage and our banners. So our videographer, Vinny Imwona, he's gonna be there helping us to put together a campaign, a video campaign. So our last session, in addition to libation and seed work, just understanding the importance of seeds, will also be an opportunity for us to advocate as artists for hip hop and videograph that real time on the backdrop of our banners. And so that is our contribution to the last session. But we're willing to accept whatever your representative and ally has put forward. If we can just have an outline of that, what she would like to see happen, then we can write it into the program as well as get her picture and bio so that we can include that as well. And I just want to shout out to all the support people, the people that are not necessarily moderators or panelists, but like the Oxygen, definitely keeping us sustained in this work, supporting it, making sure it happens. I think we should also take your pictures and bios, if you're okay, and include that into the program as well, because we would like to acknowledge you. And if you are a traditional artist, most of us that show up to this space are artists in our other lives too. Please send over information about how people can support that art, because we want them to get the program and be able to support you both as an artist, even though you're coming to this space in an administrative or arts admin role. But that's all we have for today. We can talk about the global grassroots luncheon at our next session. And we would love to meet your representative for the last session as well.
All I want to say is that I'm trying to go to Senegal on New Year's. Bush, I'm trying to get down with the dance crew. I love house and hip hop, so I need to get with Bush on that. And Baba Jabal, I love to learn about the drumming. Got some brothers here to do drumming. Alan Boyd down in North Carolina, go across the state in North Carolina, National Black Theater Festival, we drum. So I'm loving it. I just want to put that out there. Senegal.
Excuse me, TC, you can do all of that through the Teaching Artists Institute. Thank you very much. You can contact us. We are the manuscripts. We are the link. Yes, we will organize all of that for you.
Thanks for the plug. Thanks for
I
good.
also want to
to the
plug the Elders Legacy Tour in October. The Elders will be going to Tanzania in October. You're welcome.
Ooh.
Come on.
Nice.
And
Nice.
my album is dropping tomorrow. I want to plug my album dropping tomorrow. Go get that in the streets everywhere, streaming everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Let's do it. It's called In the Streets Everywhere.
In the streets everywhere. In the streets everywhere. Yeah.
All right. So we want to make sure that we have that available for sale at the summit and that we promote you in the booklet. Like that's what it's.
And I have an online radio station. We're kind of new, but you know, it's being supported by Hip Hop Congress, PuertoRicoRecoveryRadio.com. You can submit any of your tracks if you want play.
Absolutely. We want to take all of that. Like we're a movement by ourselves. Like, yes, there's so many other people doing this work, but just amongst us that'll be at the summit, there's enough to fill a booklet full of initiatives and works that are happening in the community and in the future. So let's make sure we get that calendar together. Make sure we get a copy of your logos and your brands and your projects so that the people at the State of the Black World know how to support you after the event and make it more than just a talk shop, but an ongoing relationship. So that's all we have for our side. And we will send a link to meet next week this time. Meanwhile, Brittany, I'll be in touch with you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, family. Y'all have a happy afternoon, happy Friday, all that good stuff.
Thank y'all.
All right.
Peace and much love, everyone.